For the last several weeks, I've found myself in deep thought about something. And I've been reluctant to share my thoughts in a video because the overthinker in me kept telling myself, well, if it's not about minimalism or decluttering or frugal living and saving money, then it just doesn't make sense to talk about it. So I've internalized it and I've only really talked about it with my wife. Now, of course, those topics, minimalism and personal finance, have had a massive impact on my life. Both of them have helped me to grow on my journey personally. I've talked about this and I've shared this with you for quite a few years now. And many of those videos have contributed to the growth of this YouTube channel. And as this channel has grown, I've found myself hustling to keep up with that growth, working around the clock. And I've started to lose sight of why I started this YouTube channel to begin with. There was also a part of me at times that where I felt like I was losing myself or being sucked into the rabbit hole of what everyone else was doing instead of showing up as myself, someone who is growing and learning on this journey, someone who is seeking clarity in all aspects of life. Yes, minimalism is a part of that journey. Personal finance and getting out of debt is a part of that journey. Building habits has been a part of that journey. But there are so many other things that are a part of that journey as well. So today, I want to talk about the relationship I've had with toxic productivity and what I'm doing to break out of that cycle in life, in business, and especially here on this YouTube channel as I continue to make these videos. The first thing I'm doing to break out of this cycle of toxic productivity is I'm giving myself permission to do nothing. I've recently taken a month off of social media and I've stepped away from YouTube for a few weeks as well, which was really hard for me to do because as someone who creates content, I feel like I have to constantly be on social media and constantly be working, which creates this endless cycle that is very draining. So by taking time to do nothing, I've given myself an opportunity to let my mind rest and reset. And honestly, it feels really good. I think sometimes we discount the value of downtime or doing nothing. And this idea doesn't just apply to content creators or people with YouTube channels. I think this idea is common for a lot of people where we feel like we have to constantly be doing something in order to feel productive, accomplished, and successful in a lot of ways. And for me, I've definitely felt like I've had to make videos about one topic like clockwork and post at the exact same time every single week in order to be all of these things productive, accomplished, successful. But there are two things that I've learned. Number one, that's not true. And number two, it doesn't matter how you spend this downtime. As long as you don't give in to the urge to do something, to feel like you always have to be doing something. I think sometimes we feel like we have to give structure to nothingness, but doing nothing, periods of nothingness, can bring you a lot of clarity. And I've definitely experienced this in my life. Now, because of this clarity that nothingness has brought me, I've started to rethink my values. Every day, I've been asking myself, what's important to me? Am I prioritizing what's important to me? And because of my relationship with toxic productivity, I've started to lose sight of what's important to me. Creativity being one of those things, which has always been on my list of core values, right? But lately, I've noticed it's been slipping lower and lower on that list to the point where now sometimes it feels like it's not even on that list. And what I mean by that is that my relationship with toxic productivity is killing my creativity. And I've had to continue to remind myself that creativity is important to me. And it doesn't have to look perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect, especially here on YouTube. It just has to be an expression of my mood, my energy, my thoughts in that moment. And I have to remind myself to just give myself permission to be creative every day without judgment, without judging myself, and without discounting my own thoughts and my own ideas. Because in a lot of ways, we hold ourselves back creatively. I do, you do, we all do. We hold ourselves back creatively because maybe we're afraid that people won't accept the real version of ourselves, or people won't relate with our authentic self, or maybe we're just afraid of being ourselves, right? But I have to remember that if creativity is important to me, I have to be creative every day. I have to exercise that muscle the same way I exercise my body. If you can relate to this in any way, comment below and let me know your thoughts. I also welcome any advice you have for me on how to break free or break out of this relationship I've had with toxic productivity. I'm still figuring this thing out. I'm still learning to be comfortable with being myself and being creative without being afraid to be creative. Keep growing on your journey, keep learning, and always stay true to you. Peace.